In the previous Forgotten Games video, I went back in time to look at some forgotten games that were once popular that are now broke and deserted. Today is no different, as I have found some more forgotten Roblox games lost to time. The first game, a lot of old players may have a lot of fond memories of. Call of Robloxia Zombies by Logitech 101, with it coming out sometime around the 2nd of September 2011, as that was the first time it mentioned zombies on it. The game had gathered up to 9 million visits, plus 14 million from the creator's alternate account that got hacked, so they moved it onto their main so it's kept safe. In its prime, the game managed to get up to a few hundred players easily on multiple days, with even spiking up to 1,000 players. Playing the game, it is based off of Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, with the map being a modified version of 5, with the spawn room looking different, same with the war room, but the laboratory looking the part to the original, albeit more blocky and less detailed. As for the game itself, it doesn't stop there, as the original Zombies game mode is round based, with the zombies growing in numbers each round and they get stronger, which this game also mimics, as well as having the same power-ups, which works surprisingly well in Roblox. Another thing to add, that this game also has the 4 original perks, which were featured on 5, that being Quick Revive, Speed Cola, Double Tap and Juggernog, all working as you would expect if you've played the original game. The only perk that isn't in this game is Mule Kick, which is not an original perk on this map, but got included on after when Moon got released onto every map including 5. Onto the most important part of this game, the weapons, which once again uses the selection of weapons you found in Black Ops 1 as its basis, which sometimes can be a bit janky with the bullets not registering, but when they do, with a shotgun seeing the cubes of blood fly everywhere, that just never gets old, and it is just really satisfying to use, when it lands of course. Overall, if you want to experience COD Zombies but for free, then this game is a really good option, as this was one of my childhood games I played on Roblox, sinking hours into it and found it really fun, with how well it worked for when it released and how addicting it can be to see how long you can survive in the game. However, there is a newer option, as the original developer came back and released a much more polished version called Project Lazarus, with different maps and an overall improvement to the original game. If you still want to play the original game, there is a fixed version on Roblox that runs very well. The next game is Disaster Hotel by Water Lemon, with it gathering 4.5 million visits over its lifespan across 2 different games, with it being created sometime around the 26th of January 2010, then later moving on to a different game where it remained. When the game was popular, it gathered a few hundred players, with the most I found was almost 700 players on at once. The best way to describe this game would be natural disaster survival, before that game was even made, as it's like a mini game of sorts, with you spawning on an island with this big hotel going up to 16 floors, and randomly natural disasters can occur like storms, tsunamis, floods and earthquakes, and some man-made ones like a nuke and fire, which gets brought to the hotel via a boat and spreads across it, which the developer added a really cool smoke effect and fire that lingers onto you and kills you instantly. The aim of the game is, well, just to more or less survive for as long as you can, with a timer encouraging it, but you also do get points for staying alive, which can be spent in the store to gain access to items that can assist you to last as long as possible in the hotel. Or you can use some points to spawn in different locations, which all have a different cost attached to it. Overall, this game is very simplistic and quite fun to play, with it still working to this day, which is awesome to see. So if you want to experience a fun mini game, then give this a try, as it has a ton of different events that can happen in a short span of time to put an end to your life or others in the lobby. Another game that was my childhood was Welcome to Roblox Building, created officially by Roblox sometime between the 24th of February 2012 to the 5th of March 2012 from looking at the archived pages from Roblox's account, and then the game also gathered 23 million visits, getting roughly 700 concurrent players on at once or even higher on some days. The game was super simple, being a hub for people to build in with your own play that only you can build on to show off your creation with the tools Roblox provides, with one to build stuff, and then one to remove, and then another to set up circuitry and wire up objects together to make some items work, like the speakers or certain doors. Looking around the map, you will notice a place that spawns cars for you to drive because, I don't know, why not? And a statue for champion builders, which if you had the most experience points at the time, you would have had this statue in the lobby until you leave the game, when the second person with the most points get their avatar as the statue instead of yours. There are also 3 people around the map. Helper Bot, which is self-explanatory, helps you out with any questions about the game and also cleans up objects that have fallen out of your plot. Then there's 2 SWAT members. One is located on the top of the door and the other is located on top of the window frame, which both don't say much other than go away, or in older versions, nothing at all. But what I found the most fun in the game was joining random lobbies to see people's creations, because some people had some real creativity in the game and engineering skills to make some crazy stuff, and all I can do is make lights fade and that's about it. But the other thing was hacked items which you can't normally get in game. These can come in the form of stretched items to make big walls or even custom objects like Minecraft items. Since you could simply copy items from other people's plots, some people made like a hub full of hacked items for other players to grab items from to use in their builds, or to repeat this cycle and distribute these items far and wide so more players can get a hold of these items. Now, the original game has been closed for years and been forgotten, but it has been restored by creators such as Maximum_ADHD, bringing it back for people to play with modern lighting and some new features, like how the camera moves and such, but most of the original features of the game have stayed intact and been restored with accuracy in mind. Next one is a classic RPG. The Legend of the Fallen Kingdom 1 by Retro Infinity, created on the 19th of June 2012 with it releasing a few months after. The game gathered up to 6.8 million visits, with at one point getting up to 1,000 concurrent players on at once. This game is large, as RPGs go, with tons of areas to explore and bosses to kill to reach a higher level, as every enemy in the game gives you gold and experience points to help you level up to get better gear or better armor to keep you well protected from the mob. One of the things I do like about this game is choice. You have 3 different weapons, that being range, staffs and swords, with staffs and range weapons being broken, so good luck using those, as the staffs fire straight up into the air, so I don't know how you're going to be hitting an enemy with that one. Another thing I really like about this game is that it doesn't take itself too seriously, as it's full of video game references, like the game is literally got a creeper in the thumbnail, and that is one of the main enemy types you'll see across multiple areas, as well as even a technology area inside of a cave, just to spice things up. This is also tied into why a lot of people thought this game was fun, as it was just entertaining to play, with how different it was compared to the other RPGs from that period of time, and the amount of secrets it had made it fun to just try and see if you can find new areas or hidden away bosses that I wouldn't have seen for the first time around, or even a whole new area tucked away. Like for instance, in the spawn room, there is a little path you can go into that will take you to a whole new area. Overall, for the time, this RPG was really fun to play, and still can be played today as long as you don't use the staff or bows, as the other parts of this game worked with no issues at all, other than enemies sending to an early grave, but at least it's nothing too serious that you can't overcome. Let's change it up As like current Roblox, bait and switch games were really popular, with more people like RebReb97 getting to the front page with getting thousands of players on at once with clickbait titles and thumbnails, which is sadly broken from the saved web page, but playing the game leads to, well, this is just hide and seek by Two Shoe, but reskinned, with the original gathering 13.5 million visits over its lifespan. The game offered a very large selection of maps with a ton of hiding places and secrets, all while the seeker is trying to find them, which would send them back to the lobby. But that's one of the few things that is broken in this game, as that part doesn't seem to work and does nothing at all, making it now more of a showcase that requires more than one person to look at. There is also a shop to buy items to help you hide better with invisible parts of your body, or just some accessories like bubblegum. Both instances cost points, which are obtained by playing the game, as you get points fairly easily by winning a round or by losing and still getting some from it. Overall, the game is simple and fun, with a developer getting banned for trying to sell their Robux for cash before that even was brought onto the platform, which caused the game to eventually fall off in favour for other options that overtook the game and became successful. One of those games that was popular is Hide and Seek by Lando64000, created on the 2nd of April 2009, with it gathering 22 million visits and hundreds of players on the game at once. The premise is still the same as Two Shoes version, with people hiding and someone who seeks, with the player who gets found getting sent back to spawn. But where it differs is in the map size, as this game opts for a more smaller playing field and has a lot more maps as a result of it, with 49 playable maps in the game currently. Both are different versions of the same concept that do things slightly differently, and have seen success, and both games do function fairly well, so if you're in need of playing some retro games that works well as a party game, both of these are a great option and are quite fun to play. Finally, the last game is Canoe Without a Paddle by Smoke and Chicken, with being created on the 18th of November 2009 and gathering 16.8 million visits and getting a few hundred players on at once. This game is simple, as you get into a canoe and glide down to the end point and win, but the challenge is getting there, as there is no walls in place and the water is really fast, which does mean the canoe can fall out the sides and it's over for you until you try again. But due to modern features in the game, like the terrain system, I find it has gotten easier, as I think that addition is helping the boat stay in the middle and is less likely to fall off, but it still can happen. Once you reach the end, it's like any other obby game, with a winner's badge and a ton of weapons and tools to mess around with, like this fast rocket launcher that seems pretty fun. Too bad it only fires in one direction though. Then there's flying gears and some weapons to kill other players that made it to the end. After you get bored of this area, you can teleport back to the start and do it all again to see if you can make it back to the winning area without falling off the side of the map. Overall, this game is very simple and inspired a lot of games to do similar things, as it was popular and a working format. I still think you can find ideas like this in games like Obby But You're on a Bike, as think about it, it's changed on the obby genre with different styles, in one case leaving up the chance that you make it to the end, while the other one adds a little bit more skill to beating the obby. If this video has taught you anything, it's to give some old games a try, as most of these games do still work, albeit with some flaws, but at least the fundamentals are working as intended, and are quite fun to play and have break from mindless games like RNGs and simulators that get you to spend thousands of Robux to get some rare pet to make you better than others. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any other classic games that have been forgotten to time. Check out my Discord server, as I'm also trying to build a community over there as well. And also check out my join page if you wish to support the content I make. And with that being said, I'll see you some other time.